Hey Keegan, did you hear that the Seeking Dawn devs accidentally gave away that Sony is working on a Move 2.0 in a Reddit thread?
No.
How about you?
Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
What's up, world, and welcome back to Codename Morpheus, episode 3. Is that French?
Trois. Yes.
It is French,
Trace.
right?
Trace is Spanish?
I don't know.
Uno, dos, tres. Yeah, Spanish.
There you go. But welcome back anyway. And my name is Tom. I'm one half of Level 2 Gamers. This is Keegan. He's the other half. I'd like to think you know this by now, but in case you don't,
You might be
there
new.
You go. You might be new. If
Welcome.
you are new from
Welcome.
India or whatever, then thanks a lot. Speaking of thanking people, Paul Scroob, we got to give you a shout out. You said you wanted more Codename Morpheus, and here it is, baby. We're done with our Indie PopCon stuff. That was last week. We spread it out all over the week. We still have, I believe, a Mario Kart tournament that we have to
I
upload.
haven't edited yet.
But past
Get
that,
done.
it's all PSVR from here on out.
But it will not affect Codename Morpheus. Codename Morpheus, thanks to the damn word, going forward.
Not at all.
Codename Morpheus, it will affect my speaking ability,
Not
though.
at all. Anyway, so let's talk about the new games this week. So there are, there's one that came out on the Tuesday, and then there's one going out on the Friday.
You had no idea it was released on the Friday.
I didn't.
sent him a
I
text
got mad
like,
about
Tom put a post on Instagram like, why is this not here? It says 3 days. I'm like, Tom, because it comes out Friday.
Yeah. I don't check those type of things. I just assume everything's Tuesday. There's a whole other debate that we've had earlier this morning. But yeah,
do your
today, or the day we're recording, that is Tuesday, or a couple days ago if you're watching, Archangel came out finally. That was a big kind of one that a lot of people were looking forward to. That's the VR game when you get to be in a giant mech and it's on rails.
Sounds like a really bad 90s TV show.
A little bit. I mean, I like the name Archangel. It's kind of a cool title. I don't know.
It's got a story arc about an angel.
I mean, maybe if the mech is.
If you don't know how to read, it's Archangel.
Oh, right. I always say Archangel.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Archangel.
Archangel.
It's St. Louis.
Arch on hell.
St. Louis Arch.
Yeah.
But anyway, it looks really cool. Like, here's the thing. Like, there's been kind of mixed thoughts about it because it's an on-rail shooter, and not everyone gets down with on-rail shooters, and that's okay.
That's all right.
That's okay.
We still love you.
It's completely non-locomotion, completely non-teleport. You're on rails for the whole thing, but you are a giant mech. So I feel like everyone
A six-story mech, specifically. A six-story mech.
Yeah, pretty big fucking mech. But you have to control so many buttons and dials and weapons and shields and things like that apparently it's all move based. Apparently for those that have played it, they've said, if you were to add in having to actually move to this, it would be a clusterfuck. So it's better and more enjoyable that way, I'm told. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I did pick it up. There was one thing that surprised me, and that is the price point. I wasn't expecting it to be $40.
You know what I really want?
heavy.
Like for a mech game, I think I've said this before, but I want a way to move with the moves like this.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be really hard to track and
Like
get
a forklift?
for accuracy. But yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they need to put balls on the bottom too, I think.
You need 2 balls on the
Two
bottom.
balls, so you could be like was Darth Maul with it, Anyway, but yeah, $40 is a bit steep. So that.
I mean,
was
I
a
don't know.
leap of
There's
faith by me.
there's $60. I mean, for a VR game, if it's a good VR game, I don't think it's steep.
I think it's steep if it's an on-rail shooter that I don't know how long it lasts. Like if it's like a 3 or 4 hour game, I'm gonna be mad about it. But
what if it's a fantastic 3 or 4 hours?
well, then it remains to be seen. I really like. I need to play
I'm
it.
just saying, don't pass judgment yet,
No,
Tom.
yeah, I know. I need to play. I mean, it hurt my wallet, is what I'm saying. It hurt my feelings on my wallet. But if it's really good, then I'll be happy I dropped the money on it. I'm excited. I also pre-ordered the one coming out on Friday, and that's one of the most anticipated VR games, or
Ports.
PSVR to come out for a while, and that's Super Hot, obviously.
Yes. Did really well on the Vive. Did really well. I don't know if it's Oculus. I assume it's Oculus.
I think it's on
as well.
everything except PSVR right now.
Well, it is now. Well, it will be on PS4.
And it's on regular
tomorrow.
console too. You don't have to have VR.
Which is
to play it.
weird. Let's talk about it real quick. If you buy the Super Hot PS4 version, you don't get the VR version. It's 2 different games. Found that out.
There is a bundle. But
yes, but you got to buy
they
that
are
bundle.
technically separate.
So if you buy one, you don't get the other,
Right.
unless you buy the bundle.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. If you want the VR version, obviously buy the VR version.
Yeah.
If you want the flat version, buy the flat version. I recommend playing this in VR, though. Everything I've seen from the PC world says it is way better in VR.
I'm not interested in flat at all. I mean, the concept is cool. For those of you that don't know, and by this time, if you're listening to a PSVR podcast by two random dudes in a basement, I would like to think that you did know. But for those of you that don't know, basically you control time with your movement. So when you move, time moves. Therefore, people that burst into a room and start shooting at you, you have to start doing a sort of a bullet ballet to get around all the bullets and fire back at them and steal their weapons and stuff like that. It's really hard, apparently, but in a good way. So, and actually it's quite long. I've heard so far that some people have taken all the way up to 16 hours to finish it, which is a really, really good looking
It's a simplistic game.
Yeah, for
Not
sure.
super detailed graphics.
I mean, it's kind of like chess or something, because you have to think a couple moves ahead, you know, as to if I move here, can I get this guy? If I move there, you know. So there's definitely a puzzle element to it, even though it's not necessarily intentional, you know.
I feel it was intentional.
Well, I mean,
I feel like the developers were like, hey.
There you go. But
I know what you're saying. It's not. You can't just go in guns blazing. Maybe you may not have a gun. You might have a sword. You might have to punch somebody.
Yeah, there is actually swords in there too, which I'm kind of excited about.
Katana.
This is $20 down from $25 if you pre-order. If you do not pre-order, it'll be $25 for the VR Pure version, and I think it's $32 for the bundle.
Yes.
For both of them. I don't know how much the other one is by itself, but yeah, I mean that's something to look forward to. I like you said, I checked my download clock and it said 3 days. I was like, motherfucker, like you better not do this to me. And then I learned that it was out on Friday, so I feel stupid about that.
Yeah.
But
you've been known to not to check your sources sometimes.
Well,
I don't know,
it's
like
not checking
April.
my sources.
I mean, like
just assumed,
Eve.
you know,
that April Fool's joke on Eve.
Yeah.
I won't ever let you forget that one.
Yeah, that's fine. But this wasn't really checking sources, because I wasn't even gonna, you know, talk about my pre-order of it. I was just gonna talk about the game. But it just so happened that I noticed that this morning. But just because I don't care, I'm just whatever. I don't have time for this thing. So
I check when my game's coming. I get excited for the game to come out that day.
To me, it's just another drop in the bucket.
I just love that your reaction to it was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Tom, that's how it is." Like that's what got me, was you're so like, ugh!
I got mad about it because I wanted to play it this morning and I couldn't play it this morning.
Because if you would follow the game at all, you would know, and it was released on the
Settle down.
the 21st and not the 18th.
So moving into the deals section, which we'll compile on top of our new releases here, there's been a Perma-Price Drop for a very popular game.
A Perma-Drop?
A Perma-Drop for Drive Club VR, which was previously pushing up there at like, what, $40 was it, I think? Something like that.
I don't remember.
30, $40.
I have it. I played it.
Yeah, it's a great game. Honestly, it's one of the most underrated games, I think, on the console. A lot of people got put off by it because initially the graphics were kind of funky.
I don't like the cartoony style. Like, if
and the
for
demo
me, for
apparently
racing,
was worse.
if I'm going to pick this or Dirt, I'm going to pick Dirt. Obviously, GT Sport's coming out here soon. But it's a good game, don't get me wrong, especially for $20. It's well worth it.
If you have a wheel especially, because I tried it with the wheel and it was a far more enjoyable experience.
Yeah, it's just as somebody who does a lot of racing, it was too arcadey for me. But if you like arcadey racers, not hard sim, then it's all for you.
Anyway, the Perma-Price Drop takes it down to $20, so that's going to be apparently its new price drop. So if you wanted to pick that up, or if you were looking at it for a while, now might be a good time to buy, or it'll be way cheaper when it hits the sale. On top of that, you have a pre-order, which is on a discount, and that's for Dino Frontier. What do you know? What do you say?
I saw somebody riding a dinosaur. So I saw Dino Frontier. I've not actually looked up information about it until I saw it being released on the drop. I looked at the drop and I was like, oh, cool, coming out. Or not the drop. Yeah, I looked at it somewhere. I saw it somewhere.
Indistinguishable.
It's like let me look up the this game. Let me look at the trailer. And I saw the trailer and I was disappointed because at first I saw a man on a dinosaur. I was like, ooh, am I gonna ride dinosaurs? You don't ride dinosaurs. It's a third-person game. It looks like.
Yeah.
So that's what made me a little bit upset. But
you know who made it?
Your mom.
No. The makers of Wayward Sky.
Oh.
So I thought you might like that because you're a big fan of Wayward Sky.
Carry on my wayward sky.
Which is, anyway, the pre-order for Dino Frontier is $24 down from $30. And coincidentally, Wayward Sky is also on sale, $10.59
Which is a weird price number.
$20. Yeah, it's probably percentage.
Yeah, it
but,
is. I would say it's like 67%.
So Wayward Sky's down and the Dino game's going to be a bit cheaper, so that's cool.
Wayward Sky is a real good game, by the way.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought it up. So Ancient Emulator
is
still $16 down from $20. So that's still receiving really good reviews. There's been some really cool things.
That to me is probably the one VR game that has me excited. I'm probably not gonna. Right now, I've got a lot of other things that I'm doing outside of the VR world.
So you're broke, is what you're saying.
Partially.
Okay.
The other thing though is I have Bridge Crew, so I want to finish Bridge Crew in VR,
Gotcha.
and I'm one of those people that can't jump VR to VR game. I need to like have one game.
That's pretty much all I do actually. Is jump VR.
Yeah, I can. I do that with regular games, but like Ancient Emulator is one that I'm like, this has me intrigued. I'm going to pick it up at some point and play it because it reminds me a little bit of Overwatch, and I like Overwatch.
You know, the game that I thought that you would really enjoy is actually Fantastic Contraption. Have you seen much about this yet?
I saw it had a fox with a VR headset. That's all I know about it is the screenshot.
So you basically have to build a car with the Move controllers, and then it has to traverse across terrain. Is the idea of it, but you can build whatever you want to. So it's very kind of hokey. So I figured you would actually probably love it.
Is it pokey as well?
It's hokey pokey. Maloki.
Turn yourself about.
But it's $18 down from 20. That's just a 10% drop. But that seems to
pre-order
be
sale?
like no, it's one of those like
just
you know
here cause
just because
new game smell.
New game smell. And then a game that you are not particularly a big fan of, 100-foot robot golf is
don't buy it.
Down to 10 from 20.
I'm going to tell you right now, don't buy it. It's not. It's okay outside of VR. It is horrible in VR because in VR you think you're going to be the robot. You're a camera fixed to the top of his head and you can't see your ball when you're looking. You have to lean to look through the robot, so it's weird.
Yeah.
So I very rarely say don't buy a game like definitive, but don't buy this game.
Fair enough. Then another one is Nog. This
one was fun.
$7.50 down from 15. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't my thing.
It's a puzzle
but
game.
You enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a puzzle game.
It's a space puzzle game. It's very bizarre. But nonetheless, the other one that I think is kind of a big one is Brookhaven Experiments. Brookhaven Experiments, an old school horror game.
Been out for a while.
Been out for a little while on VR. Been out a lot
was
longer.
Was it a lot?
On other
it was
platforms.
a lot. It was around launch.
It was just after.
Yeah,
launch,
it was right around launch.
But we had a lot of fun with it when we played it on the channel. And Brookhaven is now 11.20 down from 20. But the important part about this, as a side note, is that Brookhaven just recently got aim support. So apparently now it's a far more enjoyable experience than it was when it was Move support. And I didn't have a problem with Move. I thought it was okay. But I am pretty happy.
Is that the one where the dude busted through the wall on you? I think we recorded that.
Because
that's where you're in the field shooting around, and then there's one you're in a building.
Yeah,
and you couldn't figure out how to use the guns, and you figured it out, and you're like, I feel like a badass now.
Yeah. It was a solid game. It's a I say tower defense. It's not really. I guess it's a U defense game.
It's defend yourself.
Yeah.
It's like a horde defense.
But they just put you in the middle of an open field with zombies walking towards you for one level.
The one, my favorite though, there is a moment in that gameplay where you're shooting something, you turn around to look because you hear something behind you, and this big guy just busts through the wall, and you go, oh shit!
It was enjoyable, and I think I'd try it again with the aim controller as well because I had a good time with it. So yeah,
I think it'd be better with the aim controller.
I think so too. That about sums up your news and deals for PSVR this week, and then we're moving on shortly. Yeah, new games. Sorry,
we're moving on to the
moving on to news, which is next up. So stay tuned.